Hello everybody, this is City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today I am back for day 22 of Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches. And I am not sure who made this sketch. I can't quite read who made it, but I really love this sketch and I love the idea of having splatters behind the photo. And I'm trying something new for this page. I had seen somebody on YouTube using an aspirator like this one, and I thought that it would be a great idea to use for watercolor sprays. Here I am trying to use a straw because I have seen people use that. I wanted to try that as well. And so my husband found this one for me. This was in the dollar store. So it's a baby nasal aspirator. And at the time, I thought this one worked really well. I was having a lot of fun using it. And then I ended up finding a larger Ranger one at Michael's, and I bought that one too. The video that I saw on YouTube was of somebody spreading around some alcohol inks using the aspirator, but it worked out just fine using it for the watercolor sprays as well. The colors that I used were some Dylusions London Blue and also Fresh Lime, Art Anthology ink spot, and then I also use a Prima Color Bloom 2 spray in golden oregano. I started the process by putting some white gesso on some 120 pound smooth white cardstock, which is my favorite, but I had kind of accepted that this might not turn out well enough to use for a background. It was more of an experimental project. And I was pleasantly surprised when I thought it turned out pretty okay and I was able to use it as the background. There was a lot of trial and error with this. I wasn't sure exactly how I should go about spreading around the color. One thing that I realized is it's probably a good idea to not put the color in too many different places in large pools, because then when you tilt the paper to spread the color around, it spreads all over the page. You know, in the different, if you put it in different areas, all the areas will spread around. So in the end, it all worked out okay. I did have to go in with a paintbrush and reapply the ink in a couple of places, or sorry, not the ink, the watercolor sprays in a couple of the places, because when they dried, they were a little light. And I did use that combination of tilting, spraying, paintbrush, water, and once I had gotten the paint where I wanted it in that large splotch in the middle, I spread some of the color around with, in splatters using the paintbrush. And that's where I'm using the Art Anthology spray ink spot to put some splatters. And I had splattered some of the color in the background when I sprayed it directly on the background, so I thought that the splatters would kind of help mask some of that. But in the end, I do think it looks like a big, huge splash of seawater, which was kind of what I was looking for. And then I brought some blue over to that section that was mostly green. And once it was mostly dry, I rolled the paper towel on top of it just to pick up any big pools of color. Now I'm adding some water droplets to the top, and that just lifts up a little bit of the color and creates a cool effect. And then I'm going in with some white splatters, which I think also adds kind of a cool effect. Something that's really important is to make sure that all of the sprays on the background have thoroughly dried before adding the white splatters. You can add white splatters before it's dry, but then it will more just blend in with the color rather than look like splatters. So I've been trying to get caught up. I don't know if I'll ever get caught up, but at least go back to some old albums and scrapbook some photos that I took a long time ago. And my Cape Cod pictures from, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 years ago. These are getting to be quite old. They remain to be scrapbooked for one of my daughters. I make separate scrapbooks for both of my daughters, so sometimes I scrapbook the same photos. And so I'm going to be scrapbooking the beach photo. I'm adding a couple of black splatters as well. And not too many, just a few. And I'm just using my scissors just to create a few little splatters. And in a couple of spots, I'm just making them a little tiny bit bigger. I don't want to make a mess, so I just thought I would place those down myself. The rest of the layout is very quick. I don't use a lot of embellishments on this layout, and I use very, very little pattern paper. I'm using some embellishments. They're mainly the chipboard stickers from a collection called Carta Fun in the Sun. I noticed that the papers were marked either Carta or Echo Park, and then the chipboard was marked the other brand. I know that they're from the same company, but I'm not sure if it's considered an Echo Park or a Carta collection because it was labeled as both, depending on what part of the collection you looked at. I added the title that said Summertime, and underneath it, it says Snapshots of Summer on a smaller little chipboard piece. And I added that beach ball down at the bottom. I liked the way it had all those different colors. I added some photo corners, and I had gotten some paint on the white piece of paper that I mounted my photo on, and also on the photo. So I'm going back in and trying to clean that up. On the photo, I cleaned it up with a wet paper towel, and then I used a little bit of paint to try to cover up the color that was on the white paper that I matted the photo on. I add some enamel dots to the photo corners, and now I'm using some little teeny tiny self-adhesive jewels in 2 different sizes just to add a little bit of sparkle to the background. In the end, I only use pattern paper for the photo corners. The rest of the embellishments on the page, other than the enamel dots and the little jewels, are from the chipboard sheet that was in the collection. I really didn't use a lot of embellishments on this layout compared to most of the layouts that I make, and I felt that was probably because the background was so prominent. I do end up adding back in a little wooden button that I had initially taken off of the layout. It's at the top of the page and it just says yay. So I added that back in, and I glued down a lot of the jewels that were on the background so they didn't fall off later. And here I'm using some white gesso to cover up some little mistakes on the background, and then I also go in and add a couple of little spots around in the background. And that's the layout, everybody. That was a quick one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that if you like this video, you'll give it a thumbs up. And I hope that you will check out all the other ladies who have scrapbooked along with this challenge. Their links are in the description box. I hope that everybody has a great day, and I will see you all again tomorrow for day 23. I hope you'll come back. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.